My greedy stepfather is demanding I give him my late father's house because my mother told him he could. Dad died when I was 28 from cancer, the kind that takes you slowly. I spent every evening at the hospital with him during those final months. Mom would show up for maybe an hour, always on her phone, always distracted. She remarried 6 months after the funeral. I met Dennis twice before the wedding. He worked in sales, drove a BMW he couldn't afford, and called me sport, unironically. But I figured Mom needed someone, and grief makes people do strange things. The real shock came 3 weeks after the wedding. Dad's lawyer called me in for the will reading. Mom brought Dennis. They sat there holding hands like they were about to inherit a fortune. Then the lawyer read it. Everything went to me. The house Dad built himself, his entire savings account, his car collection, all of it. Mom got nothing. Her face went from confused to angry in about 5 seconds. She started demanding explanations, saying there must be a mistake. Dennis just stared at me with this cold look, like I'd personally stolen from him. The lawyer handed me a sealed envelope. Your father asked me to give you this privately. I went to the bathroom and opened it. My hands were shaking as I read Dad's letter. He knew. He'd found text messages between Mom and Dennis dating back 2 years before his diagnosis. While Dad was fighting cancer, she was already planning her exit strategy. The letter said, "Son, I'm sorry you have to learn this way. Your mother kept asking about the will, kept reminding me she'd take care of the house when I was gone. She never asked how I was feeling. She stopped saying she loved me. I watched her text him during my chemotherapy appointments. I know you noticed her distance too. You were the only one who stayed. Protect what I built for you. You deserve it. I love you." Dad, I sat on that bathroom floor and cried for 20 minutes. When I came out, Mom was screaming at the lawyer about contesting the will. Dennis had his arm around her, whispering things in her ear. When they saw me, Mom rushed over. "This is ridiculous," she said. "Your father was sick. He didn't know what he was doing. We need to fix this." I just looked at her. Dad knew exactly what he was doing. Dennis stepped forward. "Look, sport, we can work this out like adults. Your mom and I need that house. You're young. You can rent somewhere." I walked out without another word. I moved into Dad's house the next week. It's a beautiful place right on the water. Dad designed every room himself. I blocked both their numbers and tried to start over. 3 months of silence. I thought maybe they'd finally accepted it. Then my stepfather texted from a new number. "Hey, sport, just a heads up, we're moving in next week. Talk to a lawyer and your mom has rights to that house. You can stay if you want, but you'll need to pay us rent for your old bedroom. $200 a month sound fair?" I stared at that message for a full minute. Then I replied, "The house is in my name. Dad's will is ironclad. Show up and I'm calling the cops." He sent back immediately, "Your mother says otherwise. See you Friday." I forwarded everything to Dad's lawyer. He assured me they had no legal ground to stand on, but I should document everything. Friday morning, I was at the grocery store when my phone buzzed. Security camera alert. Motion detected in driveway. I opened the app and my blood ran cold. Dennis's BMW was parked in my driveway. Behind it was a U-Haul truck. Mom and Dennis were unloading boxes and furniture like they owned the place. I called the cops immediately. I have people trespassing on my property and attempting to move into my house without permission. I drove home going 20 over the speed limit. When I pulled up, there were 2 cop cars in my driveway. Dennis was talking to one officer, doing his sales pitch voice. Mom was crying to another cop, playing the victim. I walked up with my phone in hand. The deed pulled up on the screen. "That's my son," Mom said, pointing at me. "He's keeping me from my own home. My husband left me this house." "Ma'am," the officer said, looking at his notes. "This young man called us, says this is his property." I showed him the deed, the will, everything. Dennis tried interrupting, saying I'd manipulated Dad when he was sick. The officer held up his hand. "Sir, do you have any documentation showing you have rights to this property?" Dennis fumbled for words. "Well, no, but his mother, this isn't your property," the officer said flatly. "You need to remove your belongings and leave, or I'll arrest you both for trespassing." Mom started screaming that I was an ungrateful son, that Dad would be ashamed of me. I just stood there on my porch, arms crossed, watching them reload every single box back into that U-Haul. Dennis couldn't even look at me. Mom kept yelling until the officer threatened her with disturbing the peace. As they drove away, the officer turned to me. "Change your locks, get cameras everywhere, file for a restraining order if they contact you again." I did all 3 that same day. That was 2 months ago. Haven't heard from them since, but I sleep better now, knowing Dad's house is exactly where he wanted it to be, with me.